A day and night cycle is an integral part of a game to make it immersive and feel alive, since it mirrors the natural rhythm of the real world that we live in. And because of that, naturally, at nighttime, when it is done right, it can admit different moods and emotions to players, aside from just certain environments looking different. However, I can't really think of a game on top of my head that executes this feature or concept so well to the point where I've noticed a stark difference between day and night, except Dragondogma Dark Arisen. The night in Dark Arisen is so realistically dark and dangerous that you literally I can't see more than a few feet ahead without a light source, which most often time would be your lantern. And to make it worse, even your lantern needs to be refilled with oil every once in a while to keep the light up, or it would die out eventually. So there's that as well. Even a flicker of light from your lantern, torch, or magic will light up your surroundings and cast shadow, which further adds to that realism. One little nice touch I've also noticed during nighttime is the ambient sound. If you listen close enough, you'll hear certain odd and unfamiliar sounds coming from distances. What is that noise? Wait, what is that noise? Am I the only one hearing it? Hold on, what is that? And I often find myself becoming really defensive when I hear these noises. One of the more haunting sounds I've heard is a female singing, which at first I thought could be the harpy, but it felt more like a human, and it was right outside of the castle wall, which harpies usually don't reside anywhere close to that from my experience. Though that scene was a little less eerie than the harpy, as it came off a bit more soothing, because it sounded more like a human, but it still kept me at my guard because I've never heard that before. And it was during nighttime, so there's got to be something out there. The last thing I want is some hostile threat to pop out of nowhere in the dark and just one-shot me, which is another thing, by the way. Playing on a hard mode on your first playthrough and trying to alienate your companions as much as possible, because I wanted to go solo, has me getting one-shot constantly by pretty much everything. Even creatures as insignificant as rats, bats can kill me within a hit or two if I don't slaughter them fast enough. All of this adds to me becoming extremely cautious during nighttime, so much so that hearing something out of the blue that's not a sound of people gossiping or the wind immediately has me going on a defense. I never felt the need to behave this way in any other game before, especially considering this isn't even a horror game, and I don't even play horror game that much, but Dragondogma is an RPG. Specifically, I think it's more of an action RPG. It does such a good job of showcasing the difference between day and night to a point where I literally have to watch the time to make sure, like, hey, if I'm going to do this mission, let me make sure there's still enough time in the day for me to actually complete this task. Of course, it doesn't help that only certain monsters appear at night, such as undeads and ghosts. And oh man, it took me a while to even figure out how to deal with ghosts. Apparently, magic is the only thing touching them, which means all that jumping and aerial attacks that I've been doing were all pointless. But I mean, what do you expect me to do when a bunch of spirits are trying to possess me? I'm pretty much defenseless at that point. Another enemy type that really got on my nerve, and I'm sure many can sympathize with me, are wolves. These animals are fast and relentless. They'll come in packs, and you better watch out, because even with a lantern, keep in mind, you only have visibility for a few feet ahead of you, and the way these things move, you'll find your health dropping to zero with just one of them lunging at you from a distance. And what makes it even worse is that when their numbers do go down, the rest of them will cower back, so I often have to chase them down because I don't want to risk leaving any of them alive only to come crawling back to me later on to hassle me even further. With the way things play out at night, be sure to always have at least 2 to 5 oils as reserves. Dragondogma day and night cycle not only adds visual diversity, but the difference between the two in terms of gameplay mechanics prevents the game from feeling monotonous. Like I said before, it really mirrors the real world. That day and night feels like two completely distinct worlds. Whatever kind of experience you get during the day, expect something different during the night, and you will more than likely have to reconsider your strategies as a result. To add on to that, certain missions will only be completable during certain time, and the same goes for NPCs as well. They will only appear during a certain specific time within the game, whether that be day or night. An example is the quest titled Chasing Shadow, in which you were supposed to essentially investigate and follow a knight that was suspected of being a spy, and this mission will only trigger when the sun has fallen. So if you took the quest during the day, then you would have to either wait till nightfall or fast forward by resting in an inn. This splits the world of Dragondogma Dark Origin into two, day and night, as it was supposed to be, and it's impossible not to distinguish the two when you've experienced both. About 99% of the time, I literally pay no attention to the time within a game, since typically they really don't impact you in any way, but Dragondogma says otherwise, and I can't help but highly praise the game for doing such a good job of this. Alright, I do hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think of these features. Also, let me know if you play Dragondogma Dark Origin, and please no spoiler, as I'm still in the process of playing the game. I don't think I'm close to finishing it. To be honest, the game is quite large and the difficulty isn't one I would speak fond of. I'm curious if anyone has a good comparison aside from horror games, because you would expect something like this in a genre like that, but not in action RPG. Consider subscribing as well and leave a like, and I'll catch you later.